Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, a show where father and son sit down and talk about, well, fantasy, particularly in books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Thanks for being here again. We are so excited to talk to you about one of our favorite books again today,
Definitely.
The Shadow Rising from the Wheel of Time. Zach, how you doing today? Because from my perspective, you look like you're on the rise.
I guess.
You're kind of higher.
Am I actually higher than you currently? Hold on, let me slouch.
Talk to me. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I definitely went through some manic cleaning as I was preparing for a patron-only episode that we're going to be doing later. So if you're interested in what that might be, go ahead and check out our Patreon where you can join, support us, and check out something cool we're going to be doing later that I had to turn my whole setup around for.
I see. Okay. Yeah, and that's all hush-hush. Because we have patrons with us here in the recording, and we don't want to give away what the secret will be, but it'll be fun. There'll be something coming your way soon.
How are you doing, Dad?
I'm doing well. Yeah. Wow, it was a busy week. Wintry. I mean, I'm sure you had nicer weather. I went on a road trip where it was cold for me. I was in a place where it was 7 degrees with a 9 below wind chill.
Okay.
And nasty winter weather. And then I finally got home and it snowed. And you know we don't get snow in the Portland, Oregon area, but
so
we had
like
an inch
it really
of snow.
Snowed, or
we had an inch of snow on the ground one morning, and now it all went away later in the day. But come on, I escaped the winter and get back to winter. So, but that's over, and it's just a busy time. I'm leaving for work again tomorrow for another short business trip, and
things are all over the place.
They're hopping. Yeah.
Did we say things are hopping in?
Yeah, we did. Shut up.
I'm okay with
it. Talk about that.
Hopping in all over the place.
I can't do that hip hopping and stuff. No, that's not me. Wrong generation.
Yeah, your hips don't like it.
Oh, hips don't lie, man. Hips don't lie. Well, what are you drinking today, Zach?
I, on the recommendation of some friends, decided to try out a new kind of seltzer. I do have to preface, I'm usually one with, when it comes to beers, I'm not too picky. That being said, you won't find me drinking a Bud Light. However, I am trying out Bud Light's hard soda seltzers. So it's meant to just taste like a Coke, basically.
But Bud, okay, so you're selling out to the man. Thought I'd do better by you.
If Bud Light wants to come and support our show, they could be one of our first sponsors. Otherwise, this will be the last time I mention them on our podcast.
Oh yeah, they're shaking and trembling about that right now. Well,
what are you drinking, Dad?
I'm drinking something a little more creative. I crafted a Wattail for today. Mm-hmm. I have to admit, I had a Wattail all ready to go. I've even taken the picture already because I pre-made one that was awesome. And then I said, I don't feel like drinking that one today. So I created another one. Yeah, I'm saving the other one. It's going to be a nice, great one to roll out sometime. But today I created one that I have here for us. Let's see the drink.
Ooh, it's in my favorite kind of glass.
That's it. See, and I felt like something more like this. This is mostly a half and half mixture of Grand Marnier and bourbon. It's
Can't go wrong there.
It's got just a little bit of simple syrup and some club soda added in. So pretty simple cocktail. I call it Snakes and Answers.
Fair enough. It honestly does sound really simple, easy to make, and yet probably quite tasty.
It is quite tasty. This is your kind of drink. I'm sure.
Might be one of my go-tos. Grand Marnier is one of the things that I need to stock better right there. It's pretty well stocked right now, but not with Grand Marnier.
Yeah, Grand Marnier. I always got to keep some of that in stock, for sure.
Anyways, what do we have on the agenda? Anything interesting today?
We don't have much in notes to talk about, really. I didn't think of anything to mention other than, as always, to encourage people, if you like what you're going to see today, if you enjoy the content, literally like this video, subscribe to our channel, and look for all the ways that you can interact with us beyond this. We'll have a nice outro video that will explain all of that at the end of this, but, we'll say up front, we're on Discord, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, sort of, Instagram, we've got an email, we've got all the ways, and we do have a Patreon, as Zach already mentioned. So look to connect with us, and we'd love to have you join us in some of these live recordings as one of our patrons, or just interact with us in other fun ways. Like, we'll have a new Twitter poll coming up. Our Try Reader tournament for March is about to roll. We're going to go old school, throw some nostalgia into our picks this time. So not going to say anything more about that, but follow our Twitter feed, and you can participate in that. That's all I got.
Beyond that, shall we get into the Shadow Rising?
Yeah, because we have 4 freaking chapters to talk about.
Yeah, and our track record, that's not great. So let's get going.
They are shorter chapters, though. They really do fly.
I like that, though. They're shorter. They're not short.
Oh, no. They're not short. Well, one of them is short. You practically blink and it's over. The first chapter, chapter 13, is called Rumors. And we're back in one of the taverns down in the mall in Tyr. We're slumming it. So, of course, we're checking in with Matrim Cawthon.
Question. If we're at a tavern in the mall, is it fair to say this might be a Starbucks?
No. But nice try.
It is to me.
I never see dicing in a Starbucks.
I think you've been to the wrong Starbuckses.
I never see wine in a Starbucks, and Matt has a glass of wine in front of him.
Fair enough.
Not a Starbucks. But here's the funny thing. There is dicing going on. Matt's not doing it. There is alcohol in front of him. Matt's not drinking it. He's just sitting here and stewing.
How weird for Matt.
Yeah. What's going on in his head? Well, this is the same night that, earlier in the day, the Shadow Spawn attack on the stone took place. And we didn't see anything about Matt during that experience, other than we heard
there was something.
Yeah, because Rand asked about his friends. Was he too late for them? And no, they were all fine. So that's the one thing we knew. Rand, okay, Matt was fine, but we don't know what he experienced. We get a little taste of it here now as he's thinking over, what he endured. Because he's looking around this tavern, this common room, and everybody's just having a good time. They're like, you guys have no freaking idea what happened today.
You don't know about all the people that died, all the Trollocs that died, all the trauma that people endured. You're just here
about him
enjoying
almost
everything
dying.
Else.
He killed a gray man, which he was sure was there to kill him, but got him first. Then he had a confrontation with a Murdril, which really has him freaked out because the Murdril literally identified him, talked to him as the horn sounder and declared it was time to die. Okay.
Well, I guess that secret's out of the bag. Everybody knows Matt blew the horn.
Exactly. Well, not everybody, but apparently
everybody evil.
Yeah, exactly. There's some bad dudes who must know it because this Murdril knew he blew the horn. And Matt would have been dead to rights. All he had on him was that little dagger that he just took a gray man out with. And here's a Murdril with a sword, and we've learned Murdril are pretty shifty characters, pretty good swordsmen.
Don't get me wrong. A dagger can beat a sword, but for the most part, it absolutely won't. And when all you need to die against that sword is a little nick, you're doomed.
Right. So why isn't he dead? Well, as the Murdril's coming at him, a bunch of Trollocs come out of a side passage and attack the Murdril. They literally chop the Fade to bits. Then they look at Matt, and they go the other way.
So it turns out, whether you're on the good side or the bad side, this series still proves true. You're bad at communication.
I'm laughing because Jordo is trying to cover for you in the Discord.
Oh, yeah. I see it.
And again, we invite all our patrons to join us in Discord. There are things that drop in there. See,
what I did there? Bad.
That we don't always share out here out loud. You got to be with us to get the inside jokes. Yep, Jordan was groaning. That was dad worthy. It was a dad joke.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, you got it. Anyway, so Matt is like literally, I was saved by Trollocs. What the heck has Rand gotten me into? Because that's not right. That's not how this is supposed to work. So he got out of the stone. He gets somewhere where he can just get away from it all and have a drink and relax. And all he can do is sit here and think about it and feel the tug that he's supposed to go back to the stone. He's supposed to be closer to Rand. He's so done with this.
But it's not Taviran nonsense. No, it can't be Taviran.
Oh, no. Don't mention that Taviran word to him. Yeah, exactly. As he's sitting here just kind of mulling it over, again, he's not drinking the glass of wine. It's his permission to sit here. He ordered a drink, but he's not drinking it.
I'm a paying customer.
But he is doodling with it. Okay, he's dipped his finger in the wine, and he's just kind of drawing on the table, and he looks down at his tabletop, and he's drawn a doorway. He's like, brushes that away. Okay, what's that about, Zach? What does that say is going through his head?
I mean, Egwene may have definitely mentioned a doorway that could give answers, and then said, don't do it. And he was like, I promise I won't do it unless my life depends upon it. Then I will probably do it. But like,
yeah, it's clearly plaguing him. It's bugging him constantly. This thought of this is something I could maybe do.
I mean, a door is a great way out.
That's pretty good, actually. A door is a great way out. We'll talk more about that later in the episode. But as he's sitting here trying to stop thinking about doorways and Trolloc attacks and I am not a bloody Taviran and whatever, he's hearing other conversations going on around him. And mostly he's not paying any attention to them, unlike my computer that thinks I just talked to her and Siri woke up and started talking to me. Was I? Really?
A little bit.
It was probably Siri's fault. Leave me alone, Siri. I will tell you when I want something. Okay, she didn't.
Anyway.
So these side conversations, and one of them catches his ear, and he decides, oh, wait, let me get some of that, because he heard someone talking about the two rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the two rivers, that's home. Emmons Field is in the two rivers. So, okay, he walks over. What were you guys talking about? And he learns there's a rumor going around, apparently all over these taverns here right now. This news has arrived that we're not likely. Okay, here's where it came from specific. This guy is a tabac trader. Okay. And he's not likely to have any more from the two rivers for a while.
Yeah,
because
got a
the
couple
white
casks
cloaks
of it out, and then
the white cloaks have entered the two rivers and aren't letting anyone out. So enjoy this stuff. Hey, maybe I'll even charge a little more, make some profit.
Supply and demand.
Right. And Matt's like, wait, what? White cloaks in the two rivers? Tell me more. What did you know? It's like, yeah, they're apparently looking for the dragon reborn. Oh, and some dark friend with yellow eyes. Now, of course, we, the readers, know this is true.
Yeah, we saw it back in the Not a Prologue.
Right. Dane Bornhold has led a group of white cloaks into the two rivers, looking for the dragon reborn, and good old Padden Fane, under the alias of Master Ordeath, is also with them, and he's... Okay, I said that backwards, though. Dane is the one looking for the man with the yellow eyes, the
Correct.
dark friend. Fane is there because he wants the dragon reborn. He wants to suck Rand back.
Meanwhile, Dane is really there because his good friend Jarrett Bayar told him that Perrin Ibarra, the man with the golden eyes, is a dark friend responsible for his father Jephram's death.
Yeah. Now, you hear rumors like stuff like this all the time, and a lot of rumors are just that. Made up crap that somebody's spreading, or maybe it's tied to some half little truth. But this has some details in it that's a little too on the nose, and Matt's like, oh, crud, there's something going on back home. So he leaves. He rushes out back to the stone and works his way all the way to Perrin's room. And what does he find?
Well,
Perrin's packing up to leave.
Rumors too. Yeah, he knows what's going on, and he's like, "I'm going home."
Going home, going home. Oh, I killed the tune there. That
We're
didn't
going
work.
for Diddy Dirty Money, though. That's what I was hearing.
I was going for Chris Daughtry, but it just didn't.
Oh,
no.
That's what you're going. That's definitely not what.
I know. I was way too hot. Hey, the good thing is we won't have any copyright issues. Not with that kind of singing. Gonna have to work on our singing.
Wow. I still can't believe that. Sorry.
But yes, this is episode 98. Episode 100 is the musical episode. We're almost out of time to figure out what the heck that's going to be like. So clearly I'm impressing people with the quality of the singing that they're going to see.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
Or not.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Yeah. All right, so we're here. Yes, Perrin has clearly heard the same rumors and clearly believes them as well since he's packing up. Mm-hmm. He's heading home.
And now, Perrin latched onto that yellow eyes bit and goes, "This is my fault. They're going to be after me, after my family. It's a whole mess. I have to go deal with this. Me, personally."
Yeah, and we know he heard the rumors because he's been down in those same taverns, the same area, but for a different reason, not to get away from what's going on in the stone. Why has he been hanging out, slumming it in the taverns?
He's been looking for these rumors, looking for news, things that might attract Fail out of town. Well, he found something that attracts him out of town.
Yes. And this is going to be a problem because now he wants to go, but now that means he doesn't want Fail to go because he's going to go somewhere dangerous and he's trying to avoid getting her in danger. Now, again, Perrin is sure, yes, this is real. Matt was pretty sure this is something real. Matt finds out that Perrin has actually spoken to Rand about it. Hey.
Which is crazy. He spoke with Rand.
And he found out that Rand wasn't surprised. He hadn't heard a rumor or something, but when he tells him, he's like, here is his response. And Perrin can't make heads or tails of this. He said he'd do it. He said he would. I should have believed it. Oh, what's that about? We should know. Readers should know.
Remembers that Padden Fane had told him to meet on Toman Head, or he would basically go to the Two Rivers and kill everyone that he's ever loved until he showed up. So Rand remembers that.
And the two of them never did meet up on Toman Head. We're talking back in the Great Hunt.
Rand was there, but they didn't see each other.
Their paths did not cross. So, yep, Padden Fane had not accomplished what he wanted to with Rand there. Now he's gone through on his promise, apparently, and he's in the Two Rivers. So Rand knows this is a ploy. He wants to suck me there.
It's a trap?
It's a trap!
Thank you.
You got it. Therefore, Rand can't do anything about the rumor. He says, I have to do what they don't expect. That is what they would expect. So I cannot go to the Two Rivers.
It's really interesting seeing the different logic between Elaine, Nynaeve, and Egwene and Rand, where they both see traps, and one goes, so we have to go spring it. And the other goes, so I can't go spring it.
A difference between men and women? Is this what RJ's trying to say?
Or just these specific characters?
Okay. So Perrin is going to go. Rand knows Perrin is going to go. And Perrin did have the sense that Rand was glad, at least for that. Perrin would go and try to sort out what's going on and deal with the circumstance. Matt's kind of frustrated. It's like, what do you mean Rand's not going to go? We just saw earlier on what Rand can do. I mean, the lightning from Kalendor wiping out all the shadow spawn and the whole stone. Imagine what he could do to the White Cloaks. But he's not going?
Matt could just go a step further and go, okay, he's not going. He's not going. Is he just going to zap all the White Cloaks from here? I didn't know if that's a thing he could do, but I didn't know he could do this tonight.
So it's frustrating. He doesn't understand it. But Perrin's going. What about Matt? Will he come? Matt would love to go. But he can't. He literally can't even say, I would like to... He can't get the words out of his mouth. It's like something is preventing him. He literally says to Perrin, "You feel like you can go? I mean, I feel something holding me here. You don't?" And Perrin's response, "Well, I feel lots of reasons I shouldn't go, but the need to go is trumping them all. I definitely need to get there." His strong desire to get there is, of course, being more driven by the fact that the White Cloaks know his name. Okay,
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
little bit of a problem.
To Matt, White Cloaks in the Two Rivers, okay, they're a bunch of twits who harass people a little, but it should be no big deal. Perrin's got something else going on. Now, Matt doesn't know what Perrin has going on, but remind us, Zach, what does Perrin know? Why
I
do
mean,
they know
at
his
this
name?
point, Perrin's White Cloak body count is like 11. Um, it was initially just like 3, and then he was captured and told them his name and where he was from, and was like, "I promise, it's not my fault. They killed my friends, the wolves." Not a great legal defense.
No, no. So his great fear for sure is, since they know who he is, they know what he's done, they'll go after his family. If they can't have him, they'll take the next best thing. There's a personal risk involved, and Perrin feels, and it would be all my fault. So I got to get back there. I got to try to stop this.
Kind of would be.
Yeah, perhaps. Matt leaves Perrin then to his packing and his preparations, along with a final request that Perrin, look after my sisters. He references a couple of sisters. He's younger sisters that are back there in the Two Rivers. And he knows, just from that impulse to say that yeah, he's not meant to go back home.
He's not going.
But what is he supposed to do? He still doesn't know what he's supposed to do.
That's a really good question.
As he's walking away, he sees Berlane, the first of Mayan, dressed like the first of Mayan always does, and he instantly drops into flirt mode. A dashing bow, some kind words, and Berlane just walks right past him. The total brush off. And Matt doesn't go for that so well, and then he's like, "Really?" and makes some crude comments. You just dissed me. What is up with that? Come on. And okay, now she turns and notices him. And she stares at him. She stares him up and down, and then still doesn't talk to him. She turns away. He hears her muttering something like, "Too much like me." Okay, what just happened to that moment, Zach? What do you think?
Well, she did actually take a moment to evaluate him and whether or not she was going to pursue that for any reason, and said, "Nope." There's a lot to unpack there, and I don't think we have enough time to unpack all of it.
Yeah. We will dig more into it in our next chapter, so we'll wait for that. Matt realizes then, with disgust, that he literally is so Tavirined into not leaving that his mind has shifted almost immediately from worry about the people back home to flirting with Berlane. I mean, sheesh, how can the switch flip so fast? He's got to find an answer. He's got to know what to do. So again, his mind goes to the one thing he can think of that might help. But that is where this chapter ends, so we'll have to wait to learn more.
We made it through our fastest chapter ever, right there.
See, I'm telling you, these are short chapters this time. All right, let's move on to chapter 14, Customs of Mayan, where we return to Perrin's room just after Matt has left.
Picking up
Perrin's
right where we were.
shaking his head. Yeah, at Matt. He's like, "Dude can so easily move past the Two Rivers. Wow." He senses Matt is actually glad to be gone. And we didn't mention it in the last chapter, but there's some truth to that. Matt really doesn't miss home. He likes being out in the world.
I think it was said at one point between a conversation between Matt and Perrin that Matt said something along the lines of, if he ever goes back, he's not sure he'd ever leave again.
Yes.
So he's not ready to go back.
I agree. I don't know if he'll ever want to go back. Now, the thing that I really want to highlight from this particular part, the things Perrin is thinking about Matt, is really a point where Robert Jordan is very flagrantly and blatantly in our face saying, unreliable narrator. Remember this. Because we just got to see what was really going on in Matt's head. And now we shift directly to Perrin, sure of what's going on in Matt's head. And it's not quite what's going on in Matt's head.
Yeah, no, he's very wrong.
And that colors every character, every perception throughout this entire series. Because we're always getting this told to us through the thoughts of people in the series. Next to never do we have just this omniscient background. About the only time we do is, the opening section. Each time when the wind blows from somewhere, that's it. Everything else is through somebody's perspective.
Bits of prophecy that are written in other books that are quoted in here.
There's tiny little pieces like that. But so, honestly, we can't trust implicitly 100% anything of the rest of that.
You heard it here first. My dad says you cannot trust the Wheel of Time.
That's right. It's all tainted.
Ooh.
Okay, we learn quickly here then that Perrin also had some adventures with Trollocs during the attack. Okay, we heard about Matt's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Perrin, he was facing Trollocs with Fail at his side. And he's a bit bruised from the battle because apparently there was one time where he tried to swing and a Trolloc got past him and might have done him serious harm, did give him some pretty good bruises. He's pretty banged up, but Fail was there with her dagger, stab, 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 and, kind of saved the day. Apparently she's a good woman to have by your side in a tough spot.
Knows how to handle a knife. You can take that or leave it. It's great in terms of keep you alive. It's also don't tick her off too much.
And let's also speak to the fact that, okay, Matt was going to die because he only had a dagger. Fail deals with a Trolloc only with a dagger.
Yes, keep in mind, Matt went, I'm going to die, because he is about to fight a Murdral with only a dagger.
Okay.
Those two things are different.
This is true. But another funny thing I want to highlight here is, okay, Perrin's totally got his thought process that Fail needs to be removed from the picture so that she's not in danger, which removes her agency. But she's proven multiple times how valuable she is to him.
Oh, yeah.
Just last night, potentially saving his life. But she's the problem we have to deal with.
Perrin is just very determined and set in his mindset. And anytime anyone tells him or shows him a reason that it's wrong, he goes, no, I'm sticking to what I said. Just because you tell me something different doesn't mean I need to change.
Exactly. Now, can you remind us why Fail is so focused on making sure she gets to come with Perrin wherever he goes? He's sure as he tries to leave to the two rivers, she's going to want to tag along. Why is he so sure?
Is it not okay to just say that this is actually a good reason of love? That they like each other? Is that not enough?
It works for me. That's all right. Yeah, she cares. He's her man. That's what she's pegged him as now. Yeah. So where he goes, she goes. That's how she is.
I'll be honest and say it's a very accelerated love story, kind of a 0 to 60, but she found magic and mystery and all these wonderful things that she was looking for in the world in one guy that she can stick around with.
Okay. I like how you describe it 0 to 60. That's going to come up a little later on in this episode too. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But we're on Perrin right now. He's packed to leave, and his plan is to go talk to Loyal when the sun comes up. in the morning because he has in his mind Loyal can help him get home. More about that coming up. But at this moment, his door opens and he smells a tantalizing perfume coming his way. And he's like, well, that can't be Fail because that's not what she smells like. And what did your cough just say to us there, Zach?
Matt may have just passed Barrelane in the hall, who was coming right here. She is.
This also helps explain why she just blew right past Matt. She was on a mission. She was going to Perrin. That was her focus, her goal. She didn't have time for Matt. Now, why is she going to Perrin? Well, let's discover that. She announces to him she's leaving in the morning. She plans to return to Mayenne, and she's informing Perrin because he's a close friend of the Lord Dragon. So please let the Lord Dragon know that I do need to return to Mayenne now. And he's like, tell him yourself. She's like, I don't think he'd want to see me. Apparently she's maybe a little unsettled still from that previous encounter in his bedchamber. However, I think there's something else going on here that we're going to get to again later in this episode that I want to remember to highlight.
I do think it's important to just briefly mention here, Perrin was packing and getting ready for things, getting ready for bed. Perrin's shirtless right now. Yeah. So he's saying, no, but things look bad.
So as you said, no. Okay. She wants him to deliver a message. He says, no, do it yourself or get some other messenger. By not just accepting her orders, he attracts more attention from her. Because that's not what people do with Barrelane. You know, when she asks something, people say, yes, ma'am. When she says jump, they say, how high shall it be? Or what shall I jump off of? And he's not. He's totally emphatic and resisting anything she wants. She's like, It's kind of like a turn on. It's like, oh, there's something special here with you. So she looks at him a little more closely, deeply, and thinks differently. And boy, has he just made a misstep here. He has no idea, but now he's in Barrelane's crosshairs.
It's an unfortunate position where Perrin can't take a right step. Because by doing literally the right thing, he makes things worse.
Yeah. So here she is staring at this specimen of a man with that blacksmith build, muscular physique, and considerable height. It's powerful looking, and Barrelane is attracted to power. He's a close personal friend of the Lord Dragon. She wanted to get ties into the Lord Dragon. That didn't work out. You can see the wheels turning now. Maybe this might be someone I want to get close to instead. Ding, ding, ding. That's what's in her mind now. So as he tries to get her to move along, she's not going anywhere. She starts dropping innuendos. Maybe you should come to Mayenne with me. I could use me a blacksmith. And some of the things that she says are so brazen. I do partly think they're going over Perrin's head.
A little bit,
really
but I
obvious.
don't think they're going that far over his head. I think he's aware. He's just like, he doesn't get why.
And she's not taking no for an answer here. She is pushing. He would literally have to pick her up and set her outside his room to get rid of her. And he's not going to touch her. He's not doing that.
Yeah, and that looks even worse.
And in this awkward, uncomfortable situation, Fail walks in.
Oops.
Yeah, she's like basically in mid-sentence, Perrin, I just heard something and stops, half-naked Perrin.
The fact that there are three people very quickly walking into Perrin's rooms unannounced, he should really invest in a lock. That way people have to at least knock.
Did you see what got dropped in Discord? That's hilarious. I had not seen that one before. That's pretty good. So yeah, hard stone eyes from Fail, throwing daggers at Barrelane, basically. What are you doing here? She doesn't say anything directly to her. And Bear Lane just kind of very quickly now shifts to leaving, but walks right up past Perrin, brushes her fingers up his bare arm and across his shoulder, and says, "Remember, I always get what I want." And out she goes. Now, come on, that was not even fair.
No, but
Really?
also that last line was not for Perrin. That was aimed directly at Fail.
And Perrin is like, "Oh, this is not going to go well now. I'm innocent. And Fail's going to blow up now." And she doesn't. I mean, why does he expect she'll blow up?
Because things look really bad.
And has Fail given any reason to sense that she has a temper?
I mean, maybe
She's been
occasionally
hard to
smacking him
handle.
across the face.
Yeah, there have been times. But instead, she remains calmly focused on the reason she'd rushed to his room, the rumor of the White Cloaks in the Two Rivers. And Perrin is completely mystified. What should he be realizing here when she's not saying anything about Barreling?
He's in really big trouble, so he doesn't
Oh,
have
dude,
to.
so much trouble. Yeah, so much trouble.
Yeah, if it's just completely ignored, that's not a good thing. It's not like a get out of jail free card. It's a I'll deal with you later.
Yes. No news is good news, not so much. No news is you are in trouble. But she's going to move on to the important stuff we need to deal with now. Okay, so we got to get you home. Moraine, she's probably going to try to stop you. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to try to just get out on the down low and maybe not attract her attention. We can do
We're
that.
just going to
That'll
talk to
work.
Moraine. It's fine.
We learn, recognition. Fail says, okay, you've heard these rumors, but it will take you weeks to get to the Two Rivers. Perrin's like, no, I have a plan. I'm going to go talk to Loyal.
Ogre know how to get through the ways. And Fael's like, no, that's stupid. That's dangerous. And Perrin's like, we already did it.
She's like, what? She did not know this yet.
Oops.
Now, what does she know about the ways that we also do know? Tell us what we know about the ways, Zach.
They're horribly dangerous. The Black Wind does exist in there. They once were used for travel and built for and maintained by the Ogre, but not in the last many centuries.
Right. So, yes, you can get somewhere fast, but as you said, the Black Wind, Makin Shin, very dangerous. Nobody uses them anymore. But as you said, he's done it. He and Loyal have been through them. We can do this.
They're not excited to go back through them, but they will.
So despite Fael's reservation about the ways, she's still glad that they'll finally be leaving. It's what she's wanted for weeks. And then Perrin's like, yeah, but you're not coming. And she just totally disregards his statement and keeps talking about what we'll need to get together and the plans. And he has to come down very insistently. No, Fael, you are not coming. Read the words coming out of my lips. That finally sets off the explosion he was expecting earlier.
It goes somewhere along the lines of, oh, would you rather have Barrelane?
All of her angst about Barrelane and Perrin comes out spewing that. And he doesn't pass up an opportunity.
Oh, no, he does. Like, the worst thing for his relationship, but for his personal goal of driving her as far away as possible, I mean, it's not a bad call for that. It's a horrible thing.
Yeah,
don't
he literally
do it.
says, but she's a pretty sweet thing. Who wouldn't want to kiss and cuddle with Barrelane? In fact, she's invited me to come to Mayenne, and I'm thinking maybe someday I will take her up on that. It's like, holy crap. And she just looks like she's been slapped. Pain. She's in such pain. And she leaves. She leaves his room.
Granted, Perrin is using his own logic and his own ideas of what things are and how things work in this argument, both previously with Barrelane and now with Fael. Both of them have their own ideas and customs, take things in very different ways, as we'll see later.
Yes. All right. This little section ends with Perrin now being like, okay, success. I've dealt with Fail. I feel like crap, but I dealt with Fail. Now I need to get to bed. But we finish the chapter by going to Fail. We're going to get a little of her POV as she's storming away from stupid Perrin's room. She's so mad. She's fuming at foolish, stupid Perrin and that hussy Berlane and Perrin and Berlane and Perrin and Berlane. Yeah, she is really irritated. And without even thinking about it, she realizes she's heading towards Berlane's quarters. Uh-oh. And actually, she catches up with Berlane, who's still, walking back from Perrin's room.
And apparently an angry walk is much faster.
Yeah, she gets right up in her face, basically, and she demands, you keep your stinking paws off of Perrin. He is mine. He belongs to me. Yeah, that doesn't go well.
Yeah.
See, it turns out, some of the things we've been learning about Berlane get put on master display here. She is supremely skilled at pushing buttons and cutting with words.
Her tongue is very sharp.
Yeah, so even as Fail's anger is ramping up, Berlane just keeps poking and stabbing and prodding, all with words. She is getting her furious. And in Fail's head, as she sees herself losing it over Perrin with Berlane, there's this little internal voice going, what are you doing? Because she can't believe she's getting so worked up over a man. So again, earlier, you talked about this love relationship going from 0 to 60. Yeah, Fail is in bad. She is all stuck head over heels so that reason, rational thought, gone. She's
which
ready.
Point, she draws a knife.
Yeah, she doesn't even think about it.
It's like, oh, there's a knife in my hand.
So hard has Berlane prodded her that she is ready to take violence now. Now, she's not planning to kill her. She's planning to shave her head.
I mean, you say that, but she also wasn't planning to hold the knife. So, maybe it's a little closer shave than it should have been. A la Sweeney Todd. It's fine.
So, threatening with the knife to shave her bald. If she doesn't back down, Berlane is like, bring it, girl. So Fail goes at her, and we discover the first man has extensive hand-to-hand training.
Yeah, for a quick moment, Berlane kind of kicks her ass.
Oh, easily. She grabs her wrist, twists, and flicks. The dagger's in Berlane's possession, and Fail is on the ground, flipped over.
And then back up with another dagger.
So apparently, when you are in the position of the first man, a position that has been assassinated in the past by Tyr, you get training to handle people coming at you.
It's kind of helpful to not be a complete damsel in distress if people are going to try and kill you.
Yeah. Now, Fail is back up, you said, with another dagger?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember another dagger. Is it really? Did she pull another dagger
absolutely out? Yeah, she's got multiple in there, and the situation ends up both of them having daggers aimed at each other.
But I got the impression Berlane didn't even care about using a dagger.
She's using it to as a fan, it says.
Yeah, as if she's ready to take her on
it against her hand.
Doesn't need a weapon to handle Fail. But at the moment where, the video game says, Warriors, go! Ruark shows up right in between them. And basically saying, stop. We declared peace and you are going to break it?
Says, sit down and stop.
And Fail literally is like, get out of my way, you lummox, and punches him. Well,
she tries.
Tries to punch him. Now, again, her rational thought is so far gone over this. She just tried to punch an Aiel. Not just an Aiel, the clan chief of the Aiel.
Yeah. But her arm is very quickly in an arm bar instead.
Yeah, never had a shot. twisted behind her, lifted so high she's practically feeling it ready to come out of its socket. And he just holds her there. And he talks to Berlane. And he says, you go to your room. Basically, go to your room without dinner. You will stay there. I will see that breakfast is sent to you. I do not want to see you out of your room. And she starts to say something. And he's like, this is not a discussion. Do we need to have a talk like the last time? And she's like, eek! And runs to her room. Now,
we know what that talk is. That goes back to when she left Rand's rooms and he got that information out of her about what had happened and was sure she wouldn't tell anyone else. But we don't know exactly what went down in that conversation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some pretty harsh words from Ruark to Berlane about her behavior and her interaction with Rand. And this is why she was going to Perrin in the first place. I'm pretty sure Ruark forbade her from going to Rand again like that in any way. You know, if you're there with the lords and stuff and it's a group thing, that's fine. But you will not approach Rand alone again. I think that's what he did in part of that conversation, and she believes him.
If it weren't for the fact that he's Aiel, I would have expected there was be more than words as well. However, Aiel have a whole thing about not taking up any weapons against a woman who isn't a maiden of the spear. It's a whole thing. So that's literally the only reason I don't think he did anything more than speak.
Yep. All right. Ruark finally lets Fael loose then. And she's like, can I have my dagger back? He's like, no. Your dagger's forfeit. That's your punishment. She's like, what? You didn't punish Berlane. It's like, yeah. You got to see her have to scurry off. That was her punishment, that she had to be like that in front of you. Okay? And you've got more daggers anyways. Quit making a fuss, or I'll come take the rest of them.
I want to point out something that our Discord actually helped me remember here.
Yeah?
To the point where, Ruark absolutely bent Berlane over his knee and spanked her.
Oh.
Absolutely. Because, as Jordan points out, Aiel don't hold non-Aiel to the same customs. So I don't think he'd have a problem necessarily spanking some sense into a non-Aiel.
So a spanking was the first talk.
Yes.
Could be. Could be. She definitely did run for her room very quickly. All right. Ruark leaves. Fael's left alone. At that point, she's then finally, oh, my shoulder. She didn't want to show weakness in front of Ruark, but now that he's gone, that hurt. But as she's sitting there, she has a revelation come to her that leaves her smiling. Because in the midst of Berlane's taunts, one of the phrases she used was Ogre's Oath, which has just clicked for Fael.
I'm going to help you, because you said Ogre, and I know you would regret it.
Oath. Thank you.
There we go.
Ogre's Oath is a saying that has something to do, you use it when you're talking absolute truth or something that's unbreakable. Because an Ogre will never break his oath, his word.
They're very loyal.
Nice.
But
so Fael has a plan now that comes from that. But we're not going to talk about it yet. Trust us, you'll learn more about the plan very, very soon.
And that's the end of the chapter.
Right.
Halfway through, and we're not even an hour in.
That's right. So we move on to chapter 15, Into the Doorway. And we're back to Matt Cawthon, finally giving in to the great temptation that's been stuck in his head since Egwene foolishly mentioned it some chapters ago.
Door.
Yeah, come on. Someone like Matt, it's like telling someone there's a yummy plate of cookies sitting there, unguarded and available, but don't take any.
Granted, we've been giving Egwene a lot of crap for this, but it's very fair to say it's probably pattern-driven.
It's meant to be. Okay. Oh, so it's tied to being Ta'Veren.
Well, we'll see.
Well, yeah, he's now down in the Great Holding, that place down low in the lower levels of the stone, where all the ter'angreal are stored, because he's looking for that doorway ter'angreal, the one where you can go in and ask 3 questions and get true answers. As he searches, he does eventually find it, this red stone doorway. And he, checks it out a little bit first. It's just this doorway sitting by itself. As you look at it, it seems a little bit skewed, like it looks funny to the eye a bit. He pushes up against it, and it doesn't budge at all. It's like it's invisibly held upright.
It's talked about as being like twisted, and like it's a twisted stone doorway, but it's also very clearly marked as being rectangular, so it's not like an arch or something.
It's just a little off. Yeah. He shoves really hard against it, because this is weird that it won't even tilt. And it slides. It refuses to go off of upright. It just, the bottom slides a little bit. Okay, there's something freaky here. But, I'm here to use it. Let's just admit it. It's time. So, doesn't matter, I'm creeped out. I'm going in. Steals himself, steps through the doorway, and after a bright light...
probably see nothing. But then, bright light, all the noise of the world at once, suddenly flooding his ears. Somewhere else.
And he's somewhere different. Boom. The doorway is behind him, but in front of him, all around him, he's not in the Great Holding. He's in some big round hall with a ceiling that he cannot see. It's so high, it's just lost in darkness. He's right in the center of this room. Go ahead, Zach.
I think it's important to preface the rest of this chapter by saying there is so much here that we can't really talk about. So just pay attention to everything we're about to say.
It's true. There's a lot we can't go deeply into, but we'll do that as well. This is a massively significant chapter. Thus, snakes and answers. Okay. So he's gone through this thing, and he sees this round hall, grand hall he's in. Nothing else really much around other than some spheres that are giving off light. They're not flame. They're not torches. They're just a light source. He can't explain it. It kind of adds to the fact that this whole place just seems a little weird, a little unpleasant. It even has a funky smell.
Follow-up question. Does that give you like magic floating orbs vibes or light bulbs vibes?
I think the first one.
Me too, but I also just wanted to throw it out there because I'd be curious to see if anyone like thinks that these glowing spheres to an untrained eye would be just light bulbs.
I mean, there could be pixies locked up in them, a la Dresden Files. There could be they could be storm charged, a la Stormlight Archives. Who knows? All these different worlds. But yeah, I don't think they're light bulbs. No. And then he hears a voice coming out of the darkness. He discovers he's not alone here, even though he can't see anybody initially. From the shadows, he hears, this is the specific quote, "A long time, yet the seekers come again for answers. The questioners come once more. Good. You have brought no lamps, no torches, as the agreement was, and is, and ever will be. You have no iron, no instruments of music." Okay, so what should we make of that, Zach?
1, remember all of it for a lot later. 2, clearly there's some kind of knowledge and recognition here. The one thing that we know is that the leaders of Mayenne would go in this consistently when they were about to start their reign, so maybe they had some understanding here. Maybe they're part of that seekers that are coming, and so there's some talked about agreement of no light or fire, maybe no iron or music, like it says. It's a little unclear. We don't know a lot, but the best we can understand is maybe Mayenne or even older, there was some agreement and it still holds.
Now, as Matt is trying to puzzle through this stuff that he's heard, the speaker actually does step out into the light, and he's like, "Oh, it's just a guy." Oh, wait a second. It's not just a guy. Because he notices, yes, it has the form of a person, but he seems too thin for how tall he is, too graceful. And his skin, there's something about it that as it catches the light, it reminds him of a snake's scales. And then he sees the eyes. The eyes are just pupils that are black with vertical slits. Yeah,
like
definitely not human. Yeah.
This is a snaky boy.
Now, Matt almost asks for an explanation. What's the deal about iron and music instruments? What?
And he remembers to shut up before he says something stupid because he knows he has 3 questions.
Yeah, for once in his life, he bites his tongue. He does not want to see a question wasted on just curiosity. So he basically tells him, lead me on to where I'm asked my questions. And okay, let's go. So this guy leads him through wherever they are and leads him for quite a while.
It's clearly enough that Matt almost again asks if he's being taken somewhere and stops himself and goes, man, it's hard figuring things out, getting information without asking questions. I sure hope you're taking me to the people who can answer my questions.
He's got to phrase these things right. Yes. They do, and as he's going, they don't see anybody else. It's just the two of them in this whole area they're walking. But he does sense, like out of the corner of his eye, movement here or there, a sense that they're not alone. He just never quite sees anybody. They pass some windows. And as he sees things that are out there, from one window to the next, the change that takes place is not right. It's giving an indication this is not just a normal place. There's something funky about time and space and what's the Doctor Who term? Higgly wiggly. That's not
Wibbly,
it.
Wibbly wobbly,
wobbly.
timey-wimey.
Yeah. There's something like that going on here. It's strange.
Gotcha.
But they do finally arrive at the place where he may ask his questions. Another round room. This one with only 3 objects in it. It's 3 coiled pedestals surrounding the center of the room. And despite there being no apparent way to climb these pedestals, there are more individuals sitting atop each one. Just like his guard, or guide, whatever the guy is. They're up there, and they're clearly expecting him.
I'm just curious if you recalled, did it say they're like sitting in nice chairs that are up there? Are they just like sitting cross-legged? Are they sitting off the edges? I totally missed how they're sitting.
I believe it's crisscross applesauce.
Is it really?
I think it said they're sitting with their legs crossed.
That's wild.
And they speak with one voice. Enter and ask according to the agreement of old. Okay. So Matt has actually thought this through. And he does have 3 carefully prepared questions. All worked out. He's thought of ways he can ask where he doesn't have to say too much information. He doesn't have to mention specific people. He thinks they're questions that will give him just what he needs.
I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
So calmly and deliberately, he asks question number 1. Should I go home to help my people? Of course, it's a reference to the White Cloak rumor, possible danger back there, but also it addresses whether or not he should stay with Rand.
It's kind of a good question to ask because he's been wanting to go, but also so confident at this point that he can't/shouldn't. It feels like a no-brainer, but it is a good starting point to get confirmation.
I thought so. Well, the answer he gets baffles him.
It's not a yes or no.
They don't say yes or no. They say, you must go to Ruidian. Now let's add to the weirdness. As soon as they answered, they lean forward and breathe in deeply. But then a bell tolls, and one says, he is another. The strain. And the second one says, the savor. It has been long. And the final says, there is yet time.
And apparently all of these things are being said like at once.
And then she says directly to Matt, perhaps with a little more urgency, ask. Okay, what's going on? Can you make something of that phrase without spoiling?
We'll find out a lot more in the next chapter that we're still going to cover, so we'll just wait.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to posit here that Matt is now set up for failure because he asked a question. He got an answer that's nothing like the sort of answer he thought it would have been logical. He would have got a yes or a no, And besides the fact that it's a confusing question, I mean, Ruidian, go to Ruidian. I'll get killed if I go to Ruidian. What the heck is that? Now they seem to be pressuring him to move on to the next question. Do it.
No, it is a horrible thing if you're trying to actually convey useful information, but it's a very useful tool as a writer for RJ and for these individuals as they're moving Matt around in their whims.
Now, we already know about Matt. He does not like to be told what to do. He does not like to be not in control. So when they push him to give them the next question, when he's already gotten an answer that made no sense, it happens. He says, why should I go to Ruidian? Oops. That's a question. And they answer, if he doesn't go, he will die. And the bell tolls again, even more loudly.
That's all? That's all you're giving me?
What kind of help is that?
It prompts another question, which is a problem.
Matt, looking at these creatures who look even more anxious now and really want him to ask his next question, he says, fine, why will I die if I don't go to Ruidian? Because again, to him, it's like, they'll kill me if I go to Ruidian. So what?
So he's basically used all three of his questions to ask the initial first one question he wanted.
And they give him an answer. I'm going to quote it specific again. You will have sidestepped the threat of fate, left your fate to drift on the winds of time, and you will be killed by those who do not want that fate fulfilled. What do you see in that, Zach?
Whatever the pattern needs, whatever the Taviran pulling is doing, requires him to go to Viridian. And if he doesn't, he has within his power to not do that. But various agents of the shadow that find him as a Taviran important for one reason or another will then kill him before he can do whatever he needs to do.
Exactly. So he is fated to play a role, to do certain things. And if he doesn't go to Ruidian, then those who don't want him to do those things are going to be able to stop him. Okay, he still doesn't have any answers that really help him. And they want him gone now. Literally, the guy that is his side, taking him by the elbow, let's go. And he's like, no, that is not what I needed. I had 3 good questions. You screwed things up and didn't let me ask.
Matt does something a little wild.
And what's that?
Well, he keeps asking.
Instead of being let out of the room, he literally asks, what fate? It's like, I want one clear answer. What fate are you talking about? Now, at this point, Matt is surrounded by a dozen more of these buff guard types, physically dragging him out of the room. But he just keeps shouting in, what fate? What fate? And they answer.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on because we don't know enough details about what this deal is, why there were only 3 questions allowed, all this mess. But they do answer.
And these questions,
equally cryptic ways.
But fascinating answers. Do not forget these answers. Matt won't either. They're going to haunt him. These answers. To marry the daughter of the 9 moons. To die and live again, and live once more a part of what was. And to give up half the light of the world to save the world.
So who knows what any of that means?
Oh, man. Well, we do. We've read the books.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to say that.
And then let's throw in just a little bit more goodness. As he's finally dragged out of the room, they shout out to him, go to Ruidian, son of battles. Mm-hmm. Go to Ruidian, trickster. Go, gambler. Go. Okay, everything they just said has meaning. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know what it means, but it has meaning. So much. So we can't talk about these things because we're spoiler light, and that would so ruin stuff.
We can't get into that like at all right now.
But remember, Matt continues to struggle against these guards just because, well, he's doing Matt. And they drag him all the way back to the doorway terrangrial, and they actually physically chuck him out the door. And boom, he comes flying back into the Great Holding. It's like, you're gonna manhandle me? I'll manhandle you. And he jumps right back through the door and goes through it and crashes into the storage stuff on the other side of the door. It didn't work. He can't get back through the doorway. He has no idea why, but we do. Remind us of what's the deal there, Zach.
I mean, we got told he can only go through once. Apparently, that's literally.
He was not told that. Yeah. But that was information that was discussed between Moraine and Egwene. That's how it works. That's why the stupid leader of Mayenne gave it to Tyr, because he'd already used it. You can't use it again. Only once. Matt has a few moments then sitting there thinking about these stupid answers the snaky guys gave him. What the heck do these mean? When he sees Rand come backing out of the doorway. Mm-hmm. Fiery Sidene sword in his hand. And then relax when he's out and, he sees Matt there. Huh? What are you doing? You just hanging out here? Or did you go in here too? Before they can talk much. Before they can talk much, though, Moraine steps out as well. Now, she sees them, and she's furious. She instantly realizes, are you kidding me? You two were in here too?
It's
two ta'veren?
Why were you in there? How did you know about this? But also, no wonder it was a mess. No wonder things were falling apart. It's your fault.
Yes. And who told you about this thing? Which of those girls? I am giving them what for? I am going to kick my foot. No, okay. Anyways.
I love Rand's answer.
It's great.
I
love Matt's answer better. Matt's answer is so classic Matt.
No. Rand goes, who told me? A book. Actually, 2 books.
2 books.
This one and that one. And it's a whole thing I was reading.
And she looks at Matt and he goes, I read too.
He didn't say that he learned it in a book, and she didn't press him for it. But it's implied.
All right, so they have further conversation. Not a real long one, but there's a few key things that we get out of this dialogue. 1, they all had answers to questions, but none of them are willing to share what they learned.
In fact, Matt tries to say, I didn't get any answers. They didn't answer me anything.
He'd actually admitted to Rand. But he lies to Moraine. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, we learn here the snake people were speaking the old tongue. So Moraine knew the old tongue. Rand had a translator.
Apparently a bad translator.
Matt's like, I had no idea they weren't talking common. I understood everything. Oh, crap! This old tongue thing again.
That old tongue thing.
He uses that as his excuse to say, I didn't understand half of what was going on. I didn't get nothing.
Right.
We also learned that the snake people do get something from you when you come for questions. And I interpret this is when we saw them lean in and breathing in.
Kind of what like they get. Drug, but it's more of a feasting thing. They actually eat emotions. They evenly across the board just kind of eat all those emotions, every single one.
Moraine's like, and it kind of leaves you feeling like picked over and dirty, and I'm gonna go take a shower now. This is gross. We also learned, yes, the answers you receive are true, at least in regard to your future. Not necessarily what you hear about others, but your future. It is true. But interpreting the answers can be complex. So Moraine offers her assistance. If you would like help interpreting, and you can share with me, I will do what I can to help you figure it out. And she says that both to Rand and to Matt, at which time he goes, crap, she didn't buy it at all. She knows I got answers. The chapter ends with Moraine leaving the 2 of them, and Matt then asking Rand, dude, Emmons Field? Really? You're not going to do anything? And Rand's response is basically, Perrin will do what he can. I have other things I have to do. Far more important, honestly. If I don't do what I have to do, Emond's Field will fall, and to worse things than White Cloaks. In fact, the whole world will fall.
It's not a great answer, but it's an answer.
Yeah. And we just lost your video, Zach.
I'm back.
And you're back. What did you do? It was like magic.
I may have stopped the camera temporarily, but it's fine.
Well, we're glad you're here still. One more chapter. I'm like, no, don't go, Zach. There's still one more. Okay, chapter 16.
I'm just not used to 4 chapters anymore.
I know, but dang, it's still. We're going to get this in our normal time frame. We return to Perrin. He's waking up. It's the next morning. He slept poorly. Between his worries over Emond's Field and feeling like crap over what he did to Faile.
He's kind of a jerk.
And the White Cloaks, they're kind of in his dreams, bad thoughts of what he had done and what they may do to him and what they may be doing in the Two Rivers. Ugh. But okay, I'm up. I get ready for the day. I'm going to go find Loial. We have this plan. I'm going to go talk to him, get my buddy to help me go through the ways to get to the Two Rivers. And he has no trouble finding him. Loial's in his room, surrounded by his books, making notes. You had a thought.
No, just keep going.
When he finds him, he sees he's a little worse for the wear. So we can see here, Loial also had some adventures with the Trollocs. But he's like, no, I'm fine. Minor, I didn't even need healing. It really was nothing. And at that point, Faile stands up. She's in the room too. She'd been behind like a bookcase or something, so he didn't see her when he walked in. But she's like, oh, no. It was much more than just no big deal. Loial's a hero. And we learn from Faile that during that attack, Loial gathered as many children and some of their mothers as he could into a large hall, and then he stood blocking the entrance and fought off Trollocs and Myrddraal the whole time, defending all of those women and children.
He was much better at holding the door than some individuals in other series.
Hodor! Nice. One of our Patreon supporters is a big Game of Thrones fan.
I'm a fan, but Loial's better than Hodor.
What does this tell us about Loial, though, Zach? There's a little bit we learn here from him from this.
He's humble, but also kind of a badass.
Yes. He held off by himself all comers, Trollocs, Myrddraal, nothing got past him.
It's possible he only saw a couple of Trollocs here and there, but it's also possible he saw a lot.
It didn't matter. He is going to hold the line.
And he cared enough to specifically go, this is happening. All right, kids, all of you kids, get in there and be safe and alive.
Loial is very sharp, very quick, and a badass.
It's kind of crazy that he was so quick to action, considering all his concern about being hasty.
He can be appropriately hasty. Then again, he also gets chastised by other Ogier for being too hasty. So maybe it just came in handy here now.
A bit of a plus for us and not for him.
Now, Perrin shifts the conversation because Faile's dominating this, singing Loial's glories, and he's clearly embarrassed. He doesn't like all this spotlight. But he shifts it and he says, Loial, have you heard from your mother yet? Now, this leaves Faile totally in the dark. What? His mother? She doesn't know anything about... Well, what's the deal with that? Why would he be asking about Loial's mother?
I mean, we're talking about him having had run off. His mom definitely wanted to marry him off in different things here and there. He wasn't ready to settle down.
Exactly. Loial left the steading without official permission. His mother's going to want him back. And marry him so he won't ever leave again. So he doesn't want his mother knowing where he is.
No.
But Loial shares, I haven't heard from my mother, but I did see another Ogier from my steading. Steading Shanghai, where he is from, is near Tyr, relatively. So one of the Ogre from there was in Tyr. Ran into him. He's like, as soon as he gets back, he's going to tell my mom. I'm going to be in trouble with my mom. Now,
Loyal's actually pretty keen to get out of Tyr.
It segues beautifully into what Perrin's motivation is. He says, so, buddy, you don't want your mom to find you. I have a reason to get out of town. You should come with me. And in fact, I'd like your help. I need to get to the Two Rivers. Your mom will never find you in the Two Rivers. Come with me if you want to live. Loyal is like, you're right. My mom probably wouldn't find me there, but my book. I'm writing all this stuff about Rand, the Dragon Reborn, this adventure. I don't want to miss stuff. Perrin's reply, you'll write no book if your mother finds you.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard threat, but he's right.
She will shut that down. Okay, now we get to the crux of things. The White Cloaks are in the Two Rivers, hunting for Perrin. That's what he shares.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go deal with it. I need to stop them. And I got to get there quickly. So, Loyal, I need you to lead me there through the ways. I need you, buddy.
Loyal really doesn't want to, especially not through the ways, but he does eventually agree. Okay, sure. Cue Fail.
Yeah, and her evil plan.
Me?
Yeah, Loyal, he doesn't want to do the ways, but he's like, we've done it before. Okay, one more time, no biggie. And she's like, you promised. Okay, and here she reveals what she's been up to. She talked to Loyal. Innocently conversation, just
not even a little bit innocent, just saying.
No, the way she played it was all innocent.
Yeah, she played it, but
she's just curious. She'd like to see a Waygate sometime and to experience the ways. And Loyal, would you be willing to do that and take me somewhere? Promise me you'll take me into the ways and take me wherever I want to go. Just us. And before you do anything else with the ways, you'll let me do it with you. And he was like, well, okay. That's pretty much how their conversation had gone. So now he's agreed to take Perrin, and she's like, wait a second. So first part of the plan comes in, where she says, you promised to show me the ways before you do anything else with the ways. He's like, well, all right, but I can do that. I can do that when I take Perrin. I can take you and show you as well. That's not a problem. Enter plan 2, where she says, yeah, but it needs to be that you're going to take only me wherever I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Before you can help anyone else. And he's like, that's not right. That's not fair. Perrin's like, don't worry, Loyal. She tricked you.
It's not fair.
She did this deliberately.
But it's intentional.
And he's thinking, of course, he let the cat out of the bag last night. He told her this was his plan, so she screwed him. She actually has the good honor, the good sense to blush a little bit. Yes, she screwed them. She did this on purpose, but she says, it's not my fault. You forced my hand. I had no choice because you were being a stupid dummy. So I had to trick him. But she says, but it's okay, Loyal. I would like you to take me to the Two Rivers.
I'd like to see
Loyal's
it.
like, yeah. Loyal's like, oh, well. He's actually almost a little angry. It's like, well,
why did you make this a whole mess?
Yeah, why didn't you just
want to go to the same place? It's fine.
I can still help Perrin then and keep my promise to you. Why'd you make me feel so bad?
Well, she did it so she could be manipulative.
Yes, Discord agrees there. She's so crafty and manipulative. She lets the final shoe drop here. Says, okay, wait a second, Loyal. You promised it would be just you and me unless anyone else asked me to join. Perrin hasn't asked me.
So I would need Perrin to ask me to join me in going to the Two Rivers.
And this is where we get into the petty ugliness. Because there is no way in heck Perrin is going to ask to join Faile when she intentionally gamed the whole situation.
And his whole point was to try and keep her from coming in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, he does need to get there quickly. So just going on his own, not using the ways, that's not really an option. So he decides he will just follow them far enough back that he's not with them. So Loyal's oath is not broken. Loyal's like, Perrin, that's dangerous. Mach and Shin. Okay, we've talked about the Black Wind, Mach and Shin earlier. Would you remind us with clarity, what's the risk of the Black Wind?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because if you're asking me, like, what is the Black Wind? We don't have a lot of clarity on that. What we do have is that in some way, shape, or form, there is this force in the ways that goes around. We know it talks absolute nonsense, but also very harsh things. And it can absolutely kill you, rip you apart, some manner of mess of things.
Yep. You don't want to mess with it. I love the Discord meme that showed up there. That's pretty good. That's Mach and Shin's result right there. Regardless of Loyal's warning about the risk here, Perrin's like, it's just what I gotta do. Faile's like, just ask, you idiot. It's no. In fact, he doesn't say no to her. He won't acknowledge her. He's only talking to Loyal.
He's playing the silent game.
She is ranting. Dirty. And it's like she's not even there. And she finally storms out of the room. He's being so stubborn. What an idiot. Poor Loyal. The guy's just caught in the middle of all this. After her departure, our good buddy Gaul shows up. Who's Gaul? We haven't talked about him this book at all yet. Remind us who Gaul is.
Believe we have mentioned him offhandedly in this book. But either way, Gaul is an Aiel. Right. But more notably, Gaul is an Aiel that has a connection to Perrin. He's that Aiel that Perrin let out of a cage a little ways back.
Yes. And you're right. He was the one on guard duty when Egwene and Elaine came to meet Rand. So we did have a reference to him then. But thank you. You highlighted the significant thing, that connection he has with Perrin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently Rand had pulled Gaul aside and told him about Perrin's plan to go to the Two Rivers. And noted it's going to be dangerous for Perrin. Some people may actually want to kill him. Now, so that's Perrin all it was.
Understood all this and hears this and goes, so Rand told some Aiel to come with too? That'd be great. And Gaul's like, well, no.
Yeah, this is just my decision. Hearing what you're up to, I've decided I'd come along. You probably need someone to watch your back. So Rand didn't send me, but come on, guys. Rand sent him.
Rand
That's
gave
so obvious.
The pieces to the right people.
And I think Perrin can figure that out too. This is Rand doing what he can to help. Now, Perrin mentions, we're actually going through the ways to get there. Does that make a difference? You wanting to join? And Gaul's line is great Aiel stoicism.
Mm-hmm.
Death comes for all men, Perrin.
Clearly, the ways does mean something. He's not excited about it, but it's not a problem.
Now, the chapter wraps up with a last little section where we jump to Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine, who have not been in any of these 4 chapters so far.
Mm-hmm.
And they are venting over Rand. It seems Elaine had gone and shared the decision for the women to leave, and he seemed, well, relieved that she was
he wasn't
leaving.
Just like okay with it, but he was happy about it.
And that was not the reaction she was hoping for. She has spent days smooching and talking and lovey-dovey, and then he's like glad she's leaving?
Nynaeve's kind of like, heck? Would you rather he had said, please stay, I want you to stay? You know you would have had to tell him no.
I mean, they're actually glad he didn't try to talk her out of going. You know, that means he has confidence. She's a grown woman. She can take care of herself. Fine. But be happy I'm leaving? And she's feeling like a fool now because she has already written a letter that she's left for him that he will find after she's gone, that she just bears her heart and shares how much she loves him and all this lovey-dovey stuff. And now she's like, well, actually, maybe I don't have to worry about him even reading it. He doesn't care I'm leaving. He probably won't even bother. Yeah, and she's just getting compassion from Egwene and Nynaeve, basically saying, yeah, Ran is a woolhead. He's too good for you. Or you're too good for him. Sorry, I said that wrong. Before they can talk any more about it, though, however, the whole conversation's interrupted when Lan bursts into the room, furious.
It's an interesting bit of emotion and reaction we see out of Lan in this chunk, because we very rarely see much more than this.
That's right. He's very calm, Mr. Stone. But he's mad right now. And why he's mad is he just heard that Nynaeve is going to Tanchico. And she had allowed him to believe she was returning to Tar Valon. She's going to Tanchico. It's a scummy place. And they'd heard Black Aja may have gone there. What the heck? Excellent meme, Emmeline. That's it. Right there. There we go. Emotional Lan. He is furious. She's like, I didn't say I was going to Tar Valon. It's not my fault you believed I was going to Tar Valon. You made an assumption. I have reasons I need to go to Tanchico. They're my reasons. Their purpose. There's real purpose. I have a mission. It's not yours to know. Okay. This, of course, doesn't satisfy Lan.
No,
he's
not
still
at
quite
all.
satisfied. He is so angry that he's like, okay, if you are gonna go, if you are set, you can't go unprotected.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come with you. I will find a way. I will be there for you. Okay. Elaine is like, basically, they're all kind of shocked at that because
it's wild. He's going, I will up and betray my warder bond and somehow find a way to leave Moraine and follow you to protect you.
Right. I mean, that's huge. But Nynaeve will not have that. She says, your place is with Moraine. And then she pulls out the letter from the Amerlin and flashes that in front of his face, saying, you will stay with Moraine. Okay, remind us of what that letter is. Why does this matter at all?
Lan reads it and goes, it's basically the person who has this does what they do in my name, signed the Amerlin, Swan Sanche, what up?
Obey them without question.
And don't ask anything, don't tell anyone anything that happened.
That's right.
Lan's like, how do you have this? Why do you have this? You can do anything with this.
And really, you're using this to make me stay with Moraine? He's irritated. He's frustrated. He's like, why are you trying to ditch me so insistently?
Nynaeve makes a wonderful callback and says, just be glad that I'm not making you dance.
It's true. That's good. As he continues on about this, though, she basically then says, Lan Mandragoran, you're pretty full of yourself that you think all of this that I'm doing is about you. And that just puts him over the top. He's like, seriously? All about me? All about me? I'll show you all about me. And he scoops her up in his arms and kisses her quite thoroughly. Literally, the toes curl, the foot kicks.
I mean, it's as fast and almost aggressive of emotion that from the point of view that we're seeing, I believe it was Elaine's POV that we're in here. She almost reaches for the power to stop him because she's not sure what's going on.
And then sets her down. Basically, she's breathless now, and he professes his love unabashedly, all out in the open, in front of the other women. You have made stuff grow where this heart was nothing but stone.
Do you have the actual wording? Because it's a moment of actual kind of beautiful poetry, especially to think it's off the cuff for Lan. I don't have it in front of me. I kind of wish I did.
Romantic heart. He does. But again, we don't want 3-hour episodes, so it was too much to quote. They can look it up. And then he says one last thing. Know that there will be a time when you will not be able to command me away so easily. And off he goes. And Elaine and Egwene are staring at Nynaeve going, what the heck? He basically just said he would leave Moraine for you. Isn't that what you want? Why did you drive him away like that?
Here's the problem. If you give up all of your own personal wants, hopes, and dreams for somebody, you're gonna regret it. Lan is a paladin, and if he breaks his oath, he loses everything.
She would never want to do that to him. She absolutely wants him, but on her terms, in a way that's right. Not in something that would end up destroying him. So, they turn back to their final preparations, and Elaine has had a brainstorm. Seeing how Nynaeve handled Lan, that firm hand, maybe there's time to deal with Rand a little differently before they leave still. More about that in another episode, because this is the end of our chapter.
We made it through 4.
We did, and it's pretty much right in the pocket of our normal time frame. So, whoop, whoop. Again, thanks for being with us, everybody. We're going to move into a spoiler zone section in just a moment. But if you're a first-time reader, we just want to thank you for being with us. We want to remind you, join us on Discord, hit us up on social media, send us an email. We have a link to our merch shop where you can get a couple of things you can drink beverages out of, which are good. We really should start adding like some t-shirts in there.
That'd be good.
We got some good sayings, some good phrases.
But for now, for our first-time readers, we'll talk to you next time.
Bye. All right. So, time that I play a graphic.
The spoiler room. It's okay.
What do we have to spoil today? Because there's some good stuff. We need to roll a die.
Yes. So due to my current setup,
you don't have a table in front of you?
In different places, table's different. So I will be rolling a die.
Well, I'm going to roll the lethal weapon that you gave me again. So here we go. Woo!
Yeah, you're going first.
I got a 15.
I got a 5.
5. All right. Well, mine is barely a spoiler. Okay. It's spoiling just for a little bit ahead of where we are. But I'm going to talk about this one because it's something that I only, after all the times I've read these books, only figured this out today in prepping my notes.
We'll see if I've made this connection before.
It's that final decision that Elaine came to of how to handle Rand differently. I have never understood why she wrote him 2 different letters. Never. Okay? It was always like, what the heck is wrong with this woman? Why is she screwing with his mind? Because he ends up getting 2 letters. The one that professes her love and all that, and the second that sets him straight and gives him what for and blah, blah, blah.
She'd already left one.
Right. She already left the one. Now she's going to write this second one, this stern, taking a firm hand letter because of how she saw Nynaeve handle Lan.
Yeah.
She has this brainstorm. I totally missed it every other time I've read these, only because I was studying it so carefully and prepping for the podcast that I finally catch that. And now I am overjoyed. I understand finally why Rand gets 2 freaking letters that don't fit together and are confusing as heck.
It's because she tries one thing, sees something else, and then tries that as well without rescinding the other one or anything.
But what's really screwy is the second letter is still completely unnecessary. Unreliable narrator. She doesn't understand what's in Rand's head here. He's not truly happy to see her go. He's relieved she won't be in the danger of being with him, knowing he's going to be a constant target and such. That was what the relief was. He didn't want to have to say, you know, Elaine, I'm going to be going doing some dangerous things. I think you need to stay behind or go do something. No, she was telling him, I'm going to leave. Oh, good. Okay. Best of luck. You know, that was the relief. But he loves her desperately already. She has succeeded.
There's been a lot of very quick
she didn't interpret it right.
Plot lines here.
Yeah. So again, unreliable narrator. But I finally understand the letters. There are people who listen to our podcast are going to be going, really?
I mean, I'm
you guys
kind of
are doing this
boat.
podcast and you didn't get that yet?
I kind of agree with them. But I think it's useful for you to point out for anyone who is like you and hasn't seen.
Transparency, man. All right, so that's mine. What's yours?
My spoil is not actually going to be spoiling something that much, and more being an open call to talk in our Discord channel on the full spoil section we have there, or for us, probably not on our podcast just because we are spoiler light, but maybe like reach out to me to be a guest if you cover this topic. I desperately need to talk about it because we don't have enough information. That's the Elfin and the Eelfin, their world, what they are, what's going on there. We have bits and pieces. It is one of my favorite things in all of these books.
Okay.
And I want to talk about it. It's not like I want to punch but I want to theorize with people.
You know, we saw the Elfin right now. We'll get the Eelfin later.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the Elfin as the good guys and the Eelfin as the bad guys. But that's not really entirely accurate.
That's not true.
But it is the Eelfin who wear clothing made of human skin.
Maybe the Elfin just wear their human skin on the inside. I don't know.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
It does. We never said this had to follow any kind of logic or reasoning or physics that we understand. RJ was a man who understood some physics and maybe threw it out the window for this bit of world. We just don't know.
I'll tell you, the shenanigans, and Jordo's kind of agreeing with this, the shenanigans that Matt pulls in this first one kind of works out fine for him. Works out better than fine. The shenanigans he's going to try the next time, not so much.
No.
But the combination of these two sets him up perfectly for the third time.
One last little bit that I want to kind of throw out here and spoil as well as theorize. We know for a fact, in my opinion, Lanfear has never been through a doorway. I could be misdoing this.
No, I think that's fair.
But I want to say that's got to be true. Simply because Matt tries to go back through the door and it doesn't accept him. But Moraine goes back through a door successfully.
Yeah, she shouldn't have been able to get through that.
So the only thing that I can think is Lanfear hadn't been, and by tackling her through it, it takes both of them. Or is that the other door and she didn't go through that one yet?
No, I think you're right, but Although, wait a second.
I don't remember which door she goes through.
She may not have gone through that door at all.
And she hasn't been through that one?
She went through the columns. She may have not gone through the door.
It's just a bit that we don't know. If it is the Rudian door, I probably stand corrected because I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure she went through the door. I think that's something Rand and Matt did. But the traditional thing is you walk through the columns.
Well, either way.
Oh, wait, though. Rand didn't go through the door in Ruidian.
No,
only
Rand doesn't
Matt
go through the door either. Matt's
only
the one
Matt
who goes through that door.
So nobody goes through that door. Matt's the only one that went through that door. So that's why they can both fall through it later on.
Granted, either way, Lanfear still hasn't been through that door.
Correct. And Moraine.
Obviously, before actually talking more about this, I needed to do another deep dive because there's so much more I want.
All right, fair enough. I think we've covered what we wanted then. We're full spoiled, right?
I'm full spoiled out.
All right. Well, I'm going to send the credits then. You know, when people listen on the audio podcast, they can't see any of these. They can hear it, but they can't see.
Am I supposed to be reading it dramatically then?
I don't know. Maybe we should be snarkily doing that.
Sometimes.
Maybe I should be snarkily changing the background. See, they can't tell.
That's a really mean teaser.
But
Join Patreon to find out why.
That's right. If you're a Patreon supporter, I'm hinting at what you can be hoping for now. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, you have a new reason to do so. Bye.